Hello and welcome. This is a simple tic-tac-toe game in Python. This is how it's going to look like at the end, and this is how the output would be. We have three different endings: either player X wins, or player O wins, or it's a draw. So let's begin. First, we create a list of 10 spaces to represent the board positions from 1 to 9. So where the X and O would go. So we're going to do P equals 2 brackets. Gonna add quotations and leave an empty space. And we need 10 spaces. So we're gonna multiply it. This is a symbol for multiplication times 10. Then we need to print the board layout so players can see the positions that they're choosing. So print here F. Then we're gonna add quotations. And then curly brackets P, and then we start from 7 and P bracket 8, and then another column to make it neater. Okay, so this is how it's going to look like. We're going to repeat that 3 more times for the other numbers, like 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So print. I'll be back when I'm done. So once you're done, it should look like this. You now have printed the board layout so players can see the positions and to be able to choose from them. We start with player X. We're gonna have that as default and loop it up to 9 turns. So we're gonna do player equal quotation marks X. Then we need it to repeat 9 times. Like we said, we need to loop it up to 9 times. So for I in range, we're gonna use a for loop 9 times. And then don't forget the colon after. Now each turn from these 9 loops we have, the person chooses a position. So how could they choose the position? We need to ask them. So let's create a variable called place. And then we're going to put integer. Why? Because we have a number. We're going to need them to enter a number. So Python could take it in, so we use integer. The basic for input is string. It understands string only. To make it understand integer numbers, we put integer. And then enter the place you want. And then we're gonna help them make it easier. So we're gonna put 1 to 9 like that. And if it's empty, we place their symbol and reprint the board. So if P place like that equals 2 equals 2, nothing, empty. Then P place equal to player. After every move, we check all possible winning combinations, rows, columns, and diagonals. So we're going to do all the statements checking P1 to P9. We're going to do if P1 is equal to P2, and is equal to P3. This is for what? Rows. So if this whole row are equal to each other, they have the same symbol, then the player wins. But what if they're all empty? So P1 has to not be equal to an empty space in order for all the others to not be equal to an empty space. We're going to do and P1 is not equal to an empty space. Just like that. Then don't forget the column. And then after that, then we print like this. Player. Then we're going to put a curly bracket, depending on which player won, wins. So we're going to repeat this multiple times. But there's something else we have to do. We have to break the loop in order for it to stop from going on. Now we're going to copy it and enter it again. But this time, we're going to change the numbers, of course. So let's do 4, 5, 6, because we're working on rules right now. See, 4, 5, 6. And then 4 should not be equal to nothing. Repeat it again for the last row we have, which is 7, 8, 9. Now that we're done with all rows, let's do the diagonal ones. One diagonal part is 1, 5, 9. If they were all X or O, then X or O 1. We're going to do 1 and 5 and 9. 1 should not be equal to nothing. We have another way it could be diagonal, which is 7, 5, and 3. Let's enter them. 7, 5, and 3. And 7 should not be equal to nothing. Now we're going to be doing the columns. So we have 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8, and 3, 6, 9. Now that we're done with all 3 separate ways, now after all this, if a player matches 3 in a row, it will declare the winner and stop the game. That's why we print player here wins. So if the spot is already taken, we will show that there's an error. So we're gonna do else, put the column, and then print no place chosen. But now we need to switch the other player. So if player equal to X column, player equal O, else if not, player is equal to X. If all 9 turns finish with no winner, then what? It's a draw. So for that option, we're going to do else equals print draw. And that is the end. Let's check for any errors. It says that there's an indentation error. Let's check where it is. Indentation error should be easy to fix since Python provides the error below. So now it should work. Here it is. Clear X turn as we set it as the default. Let's make X go on 8. Now it's O's turn. So we'll do 5. And then we'll make X go on 9. And then O would go on maybe 2. And then X would go on 7. There you go. Player X wins. It will be the same for player O if O completed it, or at the end if neither of them complete 3, then it will be a draw. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps.